Welcome to the November HubSpot user group. For us here in Brisbane, you might see that things might be a little bit different, a little bit spookier. No, it's not Halloween. We're changing it up a little bit. We've kind of improved the lighting a little bit, but our guest actually isn't in Australia. Our guest is Heriberto from Meta. He's the product marketing manager from there, and he's all the way over in New York. So I had to get up super early. He had to stay back at work super late, and we caught up basically to have a conversation around the Conversions API. What is the Conversions API and how can it help your organizations? This HubSpot user group is going to be beneficial for those that are advertising through Meta, through all of their channels. If you are advertising or if you are thinking about advertising through Meta, I think this is a really, really important HubSpot user group to attend, mainly because with the Conversions API, what it is able to do is go through and actually push that first party data back to Meta to get a better understanding and learn from which of the actual leads that you've got have progressed, stalled, or closed lost. This information specifically is really, really, really going to help with your lead quality. It's going to stop and lower, I won't say stop, but I will say it will lower the amount of crappy leads that might be dropping into your inbox. I don't say it will eradicate it altogether, but what it's going to do is start to learn to understand which leads are closing a lot more and actually start to target those as well. So it's a great tool. I managed to catch up with Heriberto for about half an hour, and we stepped through the process of implementation, the purpose, and also a few case studies on how that could work. So a big one for this one, if you are using Meta or you are doing paid ads or you are thinking about doing paid ads through the Meta platforms, this is a great sort of conversation to get kicked off. Just a reminder, for those that are watching live here at the moment, you will notice that we are in a different scenario. We have got some feedback that everything was a little bit robotic in the live stream, so hopefully this does fix that issue. But there is a recording here as well. We'll send you the link for those there that have to drop off super early. But let's get into it and let's have a conversation with Heriberto around the Conversions API and how it can help HubSpot customers with the new integration. G'day Heriberto, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you for having me, Trav.
That's all good, that's all good. Well, we're keen to sort of learn a little bit more about the Conversions API, the Meta partnership with HubSpot, and how it can, benefit the guys in the user group and the HubSpot users across Asia Pacific. Take it away.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I've actually done a few of these user group events across the United States, and they've been absolutely phenomenal, getting a chance to talk about the product from our side in terms of why we created it, why it exists, but then more importantly, why HubSpot sort of brings it to market on our behalf and brings it to businesses. So I'm happy to walk through a few slides, answer some questions, and get a sense from you, Trav, how things are sort of working in the market. So let me share with you some slides, and it's titled Generate High Quality Leads. When you think about the consumer journey and the path to purchase, to move people through now a longer consideration phase and ultimately drive performance, it's more important than ever for businesses to really enable more a personalized and frictionless experience, especially true for a lead generation business. This isn't just a throw an ad out there, add to cart and call it a day. That sort of requires more nurturing, more steps to drive a potential customer to a return customer. So that personalized, frictionless experience is critical for success. So what do we do as Meta from a ad product perspective is we've developed essentially a product portfolio or a suite of products that lead generation businesses can utilize to drive from awareness, intent to conversion from a lead ads perspective. And that's forms. Think about forms in its fundamental aspect is where people go and submit information and to showcase interest in the product or services that you are introducing into the market, whether that's filling out a form directly within the Meta interface, which I'll go through in a little while, or on your website. Or click to message lead ads, where someone can click on an ad and it opens a chat forum directly into Messenger and other messaging platforms that we have, and you can directly interact with the customer. Or calling, similar to forums where someone can press on the ad and they can directly call you via within the Meta interface or can go to your website and call as well. So these product portfolios is how we enable businesses that focus on lead generations to activate from exposure to the ad all the way to expressing interest. Now, what I want to focus on today is lead ad with instant forms specifically. When you think about instant forms, they allow people in its very general aspect to express interest in just a few taps. What's great about instant forms is that it loads instantly. It's directly native within the Meta platform. So think about that frictionless experience. It's made it easy for people to fill out more of a mobile first form and get more information about the business. And we can also pre-populate information. Think about that personalization aspect I mentioned earlier with information already shared with Meta, already pre-populate in the form itself. We've seen great, tremendous success with it. 1 billion instant forms were submitted in 2023, about a 17% year-over-year growth, and the most that we've seen in a while. So we've seen a lot of businesses take advantage of instant forms because of that personalization and frictionless perspective, where we're not driving a customer away from the native experience into another sort of surface, but keeping it all there and still being able to capture the information we need. What's great about instant forms is how you optimize future campaigns or your lead ad campaigns. You can optimize for essentially two desired outcomes. You can for volume, and this is sort of the maximum number of leads, and this is when you're trying to get as many people as possible to submit their contact information. Think if you're running a campaign to capture email marketing lists or pre-registrations for a conference, or maximize for number of conversion leads. This is more intentionality when you're trying to get people to convert after they submit their contact information. So this is more sort of a high touch lead, like booking a test drive appointment. So what instant forms allow you to do is optimize your performance goal for quality and quantity, depending on your campaign goals. You can do a little bit of both, but that's where instant forms really sort of drives that extra value for businesses. Now, I want to give you some best practices that we were able to get from our engineering folks on instant forms. There's four that I really want to call out. One, asking 3 or fewer questions. We've seen that advertisers who ask 3 or fewer questions in their instant forms typically see a 26% lower cost per lead against comparable advertisers who've done more than 3. Using a single field for first and last name, we've seen a 14% lower cost per lead in comparison when those fields are split into 2. We recommend asking for an email address or phone number because we've seen a 26 or an 18% lower cost per lead when asking for just one. And I mentioned earlier the personalization perspective. Consider using auto-filled questions, and these are questions that auto-populate based on the information that we have. When you sort of follow some of these recommendations, you typically see better quality. Trav, on your side, in the market that you're sort of representing, have you seen how does quality fit in, like from a lead generation perspective? Is that something that businesses sort of find difficult in terms of like getting a lot of leads? A lot of them are spam, where lead quality tends to be one of the sort of top needs from an advertising perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I think when it comes to the initial stages of lead generation, specifically, from starting from the very start, it definitely is a wider net in the early stages. And I guess it's testing and measuring and understanding. And some of these metrics you've got here, I was just agreeing and nodding my head the same time as you were going through, like, yep, we've had those problems. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. So there's no surprise that those percentile there in regards to 3 or fewer questions, single fields, and ask for one or the other, not both, are leading to a higher quality lead. But I think generally as a HubSpot user or a customer starts to understand it in a greater sense and understands their niche and industry a little bit more, I think quality after a certain period of time becomes hugely most important as well. But I definitely think it's definitely a journey of understanding that customer and understanding their needs and learning from the data that we're getting from Meta and understanding how can we best communicate to our audiences as well.
I'm glad that you mentioned that sort of learning from the data that we have. And I think that's sort of where the the opportunity is. And that's sort of where the conversions API lives, is sort of we are also able to learn from the advertiser's data. Now, before I get there, one of the other components before we can learn from the advertiser's data is automating lead download. It can save time, expedite follow-ups, and it's essentially a prerequisite to set up conversion API integration. Essentially, think of this as lead retrieval, where you can automatically map your CRM directly to your campaign so that leads that you get automatically feed in into your CRM system. This eliminates manual processes, allows you to take action on leads more quickly, and scale the benefits that I'm about to go through now, where you're able to send that information back into Meta, so we can learn on your data so that you can then optimize for more quality in your future campaigns. So this is where I really want to dive in terms of lead quality, and it's all around Conversions API for CRM. But before I go into the specific use case, Conversions API for CRM is essentially a business tool where it allows us to collect first-party data safely. It's a secure, reliable way for businesses to share marketing data with our technologies that we use technology. We use that data to power your next campaign for better targeting and optimization. And we do it in a privacy safe way where the data that is coming in, we use it only for that use case. And we don't share any of that data with third parties or other advertisers without specific consent from the business itself. So what's Conversions API? Connecting your CRM with Meta technology essentially improves lead campaign performance. One, you can download leads from your campaigns across Meta technologies directly to your CRM. You can share that customer knowledge back to our technologies for us to learn on how that customer is moving through the sort of sales funnel. And it allows you, once we've learned, it allows you to target your highest value prospect in future instant form campaigns. And this is sort of that conversion lead optimization goal that I mentioned earlier. And we've seen results, we've seen impact. We've seen that connecting your CRM data with Meta technologies via Conversions API, businesses and advertisers see a 15% reduction in cost per quality lead and a 44% increase in rate of converting a lead to a quality lead in compared to lead ads optimized for volume, quantity. So how does it work? How does it look? So I think this brings it home when you look at it from like a visualization perspective. You start on the left, you have your potential customer. Scrolling, engaged on the platform, they see your ad, interested, they sign up. That specific action goes directly into your CRM, that lead, in terms of that initial lead and what action they take. But without the Conversions API connection, that's sort of where we as in Meta have lost all visibility into that customer. Did that customer convert? Did they move halfway? What happened? Connecting Conversions API to your CRM, you're able to share your CRM data back with Meta technologies. So that gives us now more visibility into that customer journey. It allows us to learn from that data and now build more of a better optimization model for you, the business, so that your future campaigns can run now with conversion lead performance goals for instant form, which will allow you to reach more leads that are more likely to take action, quality. So there are some prerequisites in terms of Conversions API for CRM. Instant forms, that's why I went through it in the beginning of the session. Right now, it only works for instant forms. The data integration can only be activated with instant form campaigns using the conversion lead performance goals. And from an optimization perspective, we ask businesses to at least generate 200 leads per month. This is so we can ensure that there's enough data to determine which leads are more likely to become your customers. Think of it as like a feasibility check as we're ingesting data and training our models. Now, how do you do it? It sounds great, works. How do I do it? You sort of have two methods of integrating. You can build your own integration. Conversions API for CRM is complex by design. You will need to leverage your own developer resources, your own technical resources, and time to complete an integration. Or our recommended approach, working with a partner like HubSpot. These partners have already done all of the hard work, all of the technical work that essentially will allow you to integrate your CRM to Conversions API in less than a day, less than an hour. Trav, question for you. As you've seen folks that have already integrated with Conversions API for CRM, what's the experience in terms of just quick to completion, the setup, the effort, so to speak, for folks that have already done it?
I think, as you sort of mentioned, these are things that we do day in, day out. So in regards to implementation, it was really quite simplistic and really quite quick on our behalf. I guess the change and the impact that it has with that obviously takes a bit of time for that data to flow back to, I guess, Meta to start to do that learning and understanding and go through. But we are seeing a better, how can I put it? We're seeing a better quality leads come through gradually as we've gone and implemented these through. So they're having better conversations. We're having better conversations about the content of the ads, as well as we're starting to really understand, and Meta in that aspect as well is starting to understand our audience better in regards to which customers are ghosting us in the early stages, which customers are progressing to the middle of the sales process, which customers are closing, which customers are actually close losting as well, which is essentially pumping that information back to Meta to give a best use of every dollar that gets spent, which in turn, I think in what you're saying, provides better quality leads at a lower cost, and ongoing with that. So I guess to your point, the implementation for us is really quite simplistic. The duration implementation, an hour or so, and we can get that up and going. But I think as we've gone through, we're seeing a better quality lead and conversion as we go through. So it's less about having the conversations about we need more leads. It's how can we sort of get more people? How can we create better content to get in front of more people to help get, I guess, a bigger share of of the customer base that we're trying to get.
Okay, and I want to visualize what going at it alone looks like. When you think about your project timeline, it can take up to 3 months from setting the right foundation, connecting CRM for lead retrieval, the right ID mapping, the pixel creations. These are all of the things that you would need to do on top of the API integration, which would require the technical resources and the developer resources I mentioned earlier. Partners make it easier. They can facilitate the CRM integrations and data integrations with lessen the lift. And we've seen good impact. Advertisers using lead ads achieve typically 53% more leads when adopting a partner compared to going at it alone. So we've seen partners' ability to be more efficient, allow you to move faster, allows you to drive better impact to your business. And I wanted to share with you a few case studies from some B2C companies out there that have utilized it and the results that they're seeing. And this is Compare Club. They came in with a specific business objective of optimizing for leads that are more likely to convert. They utilized instant forms, conversion lead performance goal, plus Conversions API for CRM, and they blew it out the water. 56% lower CPA compared to website conversions, 58% increase in return on ad spend compared to website conversions, and a 10% lower CPA compared to an on-site standard lead. And here's Mirror Clinic, Turkish cosmetic, dentistry, and plastic surgery clinic. Again, similar objective, higher quality leads and more sales. They took a similar tactic and they saw double-digit impact and more quality leads generated with conversion lead optimization than just going standard with instant forms, and a 36% lower cost per lead. So businesses across different verticals, whether you're B2B, B2C, we're seeing value and seeing impact from a lead gen perspective. Now, before I go into questions, I know I showed you sort of how it works on the Meta side. What I want to do is share with you a video of how it comes to life on the HubSpot side, so you can see how simple and easy it is to integrate.
Oh, wow, there's a donut shop I haven't tried. Okay, just give me a sec to finish this up real quick. And done. I'm on a mission to try every donut shop in Chicago. I thought I had them all covered, but a new one just popped up in my Facebook feed. They have a special offer for new customers, so I signed up to join their mailing list, and I want to make sure I get that coupon for later today. This is exactly why you should be using the Conversions API for leads. Instead of showing that ad to 50 or 100 people who might be interested, Facebook's parent company Meta showed it to me. To them, I'm not just another lead, I'm a high quality lead. So what does that mean for you and your business? Well, for most marketers, lead quality is the #1 metric used to measure success. But actually finding high quality leads is hard. That's because right now, Meta doesn't know what happens after someone interacts with your ad. Did they ask for more information? Did they talk to a salesperson? Or did they make a purchase? The more Meta knows about your current customers, the better it gets at targeting leads. If you could just share that information, Meta can use it to show your ads to more of the right people. This is exactly what the new Conversions API does. It creates a direct connection between Meta and HubSpot, so you can use your CRM data to teach Meta which leads are most valuable to you. Once Meta knows which contacts matter most to your business, Meta Ads can use this information to show your ad campaigns to similar people, helping customers like me discover new donut shops. And that's not even the best part. Ads that use the Meta Conversions lead performance goal and CRM integration with the Conversions API saw their cost per quality lead go down on an average of 15%. They also converted leads to quality leads 44% faster. In other words, the Conversions API can help you spend less money to reach more high quality leads. And all you have to do is set up the new integration. If you have a Marketing Hub Professional or Enterprise account and you advertise on Facebook or Instagram, you can start using it right now. Let's take a look. To get started, you'll need 3 things in place. First, connect your Meta Ads account to HubSpot. Second, install a Facebook pixel in your HubSpot account. And third, turn on lead syncing so HubSpot can collect and sync your leads. You'll find detailed instructions for all of these steps in the HubSpot knowledge base. Just click the link in the description below this video and follow the tutorial you see there. Now, to get started with your Conversions API in your HubSpot account, begin by creating a new conversion event. In the upper right, select Create, and then select Event. Choose Facebook as your ad network, and then select your connected account. Under Event Trigger, select Lifecycle Stage Change. A HubSpot lifecycle stage is used to track which stage a contact is in your marketing funnel. Selecting this type of event will let Meta know where your contacts are in the buying journey, like if they just signed up for your daily donut digest or have actually showed up at a store to buy their first dozen. Next, add the corresponding Facebook pixel if the correct one is not already selected. Now, I'm going to choose which HubSpot lifecycle stage changes I want to send to Facebook and Instagram. For now, let's select Sales Qualified Lead. This will let us send all contacts that become sales qualified leads to Meta. I want to send sales qualified leads because I'm interested in sending Meta contacts that I have expressed interest in my products and are ready to move into the sales process. You can see here that I'll have 97 conversion events left after I create this one. HubSpot will keep track of how many events you have left. If you run out of events, you can either upgrade your Marketing Hub tier or purchase an ads limit increase to create 50 additional ad conversion events. Next, select the amount of data you'd like to share with Meta Ads. We'd recommend selecting all contacts that move to the selected lifecycle stages for the best ads optimization experience. HubSpot will automatically name your conversion event based on the lifecycle stage you chose above, so it's easy to find later. When you click Create Event, HubSpot will create a separate conversion event for each of the lifecycle changes you selected. For today, we're just going to create this one sales qualified lead event. Now, I'm going to navigate over to the Events tab, and presto, there's my new lifecycle stage change conversion event. You can click on it at any time to change the details if you change your mind. But what about the other conversion events you see here? I created them before the new integration was available, and they became inactive once the integration was released. So I have to update these events for them to continue syncing. Updating these is super easy. Just click the Replace Events button. HubSpot will pre-select your Facebook ad account, the correct event trigger, and lifecycle stages. All you have to do is confirm the correct pixel is selected. You can also change which contact data you share with Meta if you want to. Click Create Event, and you're done. Just repeat that same process for each conversion event you want to replace. As you can see, setting up the Conversions API within your HubSpot account is super easy. It only takes a few minutes and opens all kinds of doors. Now, you can send HubSpot lifecycle stage changes back to Meta as a conversion, and you don't have to lift a finger to do it. This is one of the best steps you can take to lower your costs and reach higher quality leads. Plus, your customers will thank you. How else would I have discovered all of this? Click the link in the description below to get started today.
Cool, awesome, thanks for that. We have got a couple of questions, but by and large, if anyone that's watching this video live wants to ask some questions on the side, we'll get them answered for you. If there's anything we can't answer, we'll grab your details and make sure that we reach out to you via email after this video. But also in the description below, in the comments, if you wanted to get some questions, we'll make sure they are answered as well. I guess if we could sort of have it in layman's terms for some of those customers out there, and so what we're sort of saying is that rather than the older version that we had of being able to connect up the CRM and push that data specifically across, what this what the Conversions API is able to do now is understand the customer, where they are in the CRM, what stage they kind of got to, and then that report it back to Meta to give it a better idea in who to target and how to target, and essentially machine learn from that to be able to deliver you higher quality leads over a period of time.
Correct. Essentially is let us learn from your first party data so that your next dollar spent is a smarter dollar spent. Essentially what we're doing is from a privacy in a privacy safe way, you're sending that data back into Meta from your CRM. We're learning how that customer, all those customers are moving through your sales funnel. And where our optimization systems and ad systems are learning off of that data so that your next campaign, you can now target for higher quality leads as opposed to just volume.
Yeah.
So that way the leads that you are getting may not be as big as when you were going for volume. These are leads that are more likely to convert, that are more likely to go from initial lead all the way to convert.
So I highly recommend that if you are running Meta ads across the board, that you're almost silly to not be sort of leaning into the Conversions API. I think overall you're going to get cleaner data, you're going to get better quality leads. I think all in all you're going to get better ROI for every dollar that you put into every paid ad, and giving you better ROAS as well, for sure.
Exactly. You're sitting on a treasure trove of first party data. Utilize it to better help your business results and your business impact. And our systems allow us to learn off your data for better performance.
Because I guess like the third party data that we're getting at the moment, it's inconsistent. It could also not give us necessarily. There's so many variables when it comes to that third party data as well. Is that we're almost taking a guesstimate of what's going on rather than actually understanding exactly what it is. So I guess this one is that we're taking less guesses and we're taking a little bit more of a pointy approach to who it is, how they went, and what's converting and getting better leads over time.
Correct, right. You can sort of, we do a great job at targeting just in general, and you can spend on lead generation campaigns and lead ads and optimize for volume, and you may get a subset of those initial leads to convert, and that's great, and then you'll spend again and hope for similar results. If you're not sending that data back, if you are sending that data back, now we are learning of how these customers are moving through your sales cycle, whether they're stopping, completing, so that then your next spend, you can now optimize for more quality and higher intentionality.
And you're sort of taking those learnings on what you know about your CRM or what you know about your customers in your CRM. Like a lot of the customers that use HubSpot that we work with, they basically have a very clear idea about what kind of leads come through, which leads will waste their time, which leads are going to progress through as we start to learn the customers. Now, if we can learn and place that sort of, I guess, that intellect and intelligence into before we even start touching them, that means that like when they land in there, we're going to be probably dealing with less of the people we don't want to deal with. So we're transferring that intelligence and what we know inside the CRM outside the CRM so we can better understand it from that side as well. So I think it's a great step forward for sure. And as you mentioned, from a privacy aspect, for those that are concerned about that, there is a privacy aspect that data won't be sold, and also to be that it's going to be specifically just for that company and not shared with anybody else.
Correct, right. And just to give you a little bit more detail, we rely on the lead ID specifically as a sort of the matching mechanism of sort of what we need. We have all the campaign information internally, and you're setting up you're configuring your own sales funnel. However you have your sales funnels, how you configure it within HubSpot, we learn off that funnel specifically.
Well, I know it's pretty late over there in New York, so it's been great catching up with you, and thanks for stepping through the Conversions API, how it works. We'll obviously provide a ton of resources in the description, in the event page, and if anyone basically wants to get in touch or get any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us. We can get those questions answered for you. Thank you so much for catching up with us, and thank you very much for staying back late today. Hopefully you get an early start tomorrow at work for us in Australia here, but appreciate you catching up with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Folks, give it a shot, and looking forward to success.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, that wraps up our November 2024 HubSpot user group. We caught up with Heriberto, spoke everything about the Conversions API. It was great to sort of step through that. And again, what we're going to be doing, we've got the slide deck, which we'll provide as a link if you guys want to step through and actually click through some of those. We'll provide all the resources as well. There might be a few questions that got asked in the chat and also in the comments below. The description of the video will have all the necessary resources. But by and large, we're here for the HubSpot user group to help you answer those questions. If you're looking to self-implement, go hard. If you're looking for somebody to help you with that as well, get in touch with us and we can help you out as well. But hopefully we've given you some insight into how that could benefit your business and the lead quality that comes through. Now, it is getting hotter here in Australia, and that means that it's nearly Christmas time, and it means that we've got one more hug left for 2024. We made a mission to do one hug every month, where last year I think we did one hug every quarter. So a big kudos to Chloe from behind the scenes as well for putting stuff together, and also to you guys for attending and also giving us your feedback. It's been very helpful. But to take us out for 2024, one of the big things that we get asked is, especially in January, is I want to get the CRM in order. I want to get it cleaned up, and I want to make sure that I can do an audit to make sure that we hit 2025 as best as possible. So we thought, hell, why not? Let's just talk about it for about an hour and step through what we do for our audits as well, and how you guys can take our best practices and apply it to your portals for 2025. So I'm going to be catching up with Harry Spicer-Short, one of the strategists here that implements, onboards, and trains for our clients and HubSpot customers. We're going to go through the audit process, best practices, and what to look for specifically in your HubSpot account to get things, to do a bit of a spring clean to make sure that when you guys get back, a little bit more sunburnt, a little bit bigger, and a little bit more relaxed, and a lot more sleep, you'll be able to get into that and have a really great account, or know what to look out for in order to have best practices and start the year on the right foot. So the hug is going to be the 5th of December, our step-by-step guide on the HubSpot audit and what to look out for. We have brought this one a little bit closer to the start of the month because everyone just sort of seems to teeter off after that sort of week. So again, we'll be going live on the 5th at 10 a.m., which is a Thursday. Yep, it's a Thursday. And we'll also have the recording. The big thing you'll see down below on the link here and also in the description, sign up to be a part of the HubSpot user group. It's free. If you can't attend, we'll send you through the recordings as well, but it's a great community to sort of get together, ask questions, and also learn a little bit more about how you could be using your HubSpot better. Well, that's it from me. I hope you guys have learned a little bit about the Conversions API. We've got one more hug left for 2024 about auditing your account, so looking forward to having a cracker. And thank you very much to Heriberto for attending all the way from New York as well, for letting us know about the Conversions API. Happy HubSpotting, and I will see you guys in a couple of weeks for our very last hug.